it's good to see familiar faces. And let me introduce you to someone who will be much more familiar. You may not know him yet. Kyle Whitaker. Kyle is the Extension and Engagement Specialist for our region. He's headquartered in Webster County, but he also works with the council and kind of our administrative functions in Greene County now. It's sort of a change in the last 2 years, 2 years as far as leadership and things in our county. But Kyle Whitaker, and so we're going to kind of tag team a little bit on this presentation. And I was told to keep it under an hour and 20 minutes. Is that correct? No, I think it was to keep it under 20 minutes. But we'll set a timer to make sure I don't go over. So you may or may not know much about Greene County Extension. Maybe by the time we get done, you'll know more. That's our hope. So the Greene County Extension is part of the University of Missouri, not to be confused with Missouri State. I know that's easy to do, but every county in the state has an extension office, and it's part of the University of Missouri system. All right, so money. I know this group loves to talk about money, and we have somebody who put this PowerPoint together didn't do a very good job, did I? On planning this. Sorry about that. The reason I'm showing this part of our financials is to show what the county appropriations are to the extension office at $65,000 a year. There you go. There you go. $65,000 a year is the county appropriations. And then there are other monies that come in through classes and grants and contracts and resells. I think the most important thing to know about that is that $65,000 does not cover salaries of extension specialists. That's covered by the University of Missouri. So those are programming dollars, and we don't pay rent on the office that we're in. We do have a 2-day-a-week secretary, so it helps pay for that position, and it pays for things that help with programs. There we go. There we go. And in terms of expenses, we have a fairly short list and fairly simple fund that applies to that $65,000 that comes from the county. Some 4-H expenses and things, but most of these are related to programming, supplies, and services. A couple of these have much bigger numbers in them, and that's because this is the overview financial that we're required to publish. And it lacks a little explanation, and that is the fact that we have a Master Gardener program and a Master Naturalist program that generates their own money. And both of them have pretty sizable budgets.
300 Master Gardeners.
Yeah, over 300 Master Gardeners, and budgets are probably over 30,000 for each of those that they generate through plant sales and other things. And so we handle those checking accounts. They are an extension program. That's how their expenditures show up here in our supplies and so forth. So if we could run an account that would just show what we spent that applies to the county monies, and that balances out each year. But when you throw in the Master Gardeners, Master Naturalists, it results in a lot bigger total expense number. But this is the one we're required to publish each year because those monies do flow through the county. And then we do have an endowment that over the years that the council has fundraised on. We maintain at the University of Missouri. There's a distribution account. Those are monies that are available to be spent. The endowment principal is a permanent fund that exists. But this came about largely because of fundraising that was done back in prior to COVID, prior to that time.
One unique thing, I think, is our Youth Program Associate, which is our 4-H, works with our 4-H volunteers, Bailey Andrews. In most counties, the county would be responsible for half of those salary and benefits. But in Greene County, we actually have a partnership with the Juvenile Center that covers the county's portion of that salary. The university still pays for 50%. So that's a unique thing and pretty nice, too, when you start building a budget.
Absolutely. How's that partnership going?
So far, so good.
Right.
Has it been about 6 or 7 years so far?
Yeah, I think it probably is now. Gosh, time flies, doesn't it? That was unique to the state when it started, and I think maybe still is. So yeah, so Bailey does a great job with those 4-H connections. If you highlight photos of some groups that she's worked with, but it's all about youth, and not just those 300 or so that are in clubs, but also some that come to sort of one-off type of events. You want to jump in on agriculture?
Yeah, I mean, agriculture is still a very large industry in Greene County. Um, we just recently finished up our 9th annual Ag Commissioners, need a microphone. Just recently finished up our 9th annual Commissioners Ag Tour.
It's in here somewhere.
Yeah,
There it is.
it went fantastic. Really appreciate everybody that's able to attend that. We could go into more details, I guess, about the stops, but we usually try to go to different parts, of the county. And so one of the places we went to out by Rogersville is the Lane Baxter Farm, which is a Century Farm MU extension, along with Kaffner on campus, and Farm Bureau is kind of a co-sponsor of the Century Farm program. And so we went to a Century Farm literally across the road from Rogersville Middle School. It's still a working dairy in Greene County. And it didn't take you long to figure out the pride that this family had in their operation. And I know the commissioners and everybody on the tour really enjoyed visiting with them. We also went to a horse sanctuary and rescue, something different for sure, and very interesting. And again, I think the thing that struck me, and I think many people on the trip, was just the passion that these people had, obviously for the horses, but it was a much bigger picture than that. These people are talking about, developing people and using these horses to get them through difficult times in their life. One of their workers there, volunteers, is very passionate about mental health, youth mental health. And I know had a long visit with Commissioner Dixon after the tour about, what can be done to kind of magnify her efforts and her passion. Then we went to Watka Commercial Hay Farm, which if you go east on I-44, just past 65, you look to your left, all the green fields. It is a premier hay producer, and all those fields currently are in alfalfa. And so we stopped there and visited with him and talked about his business of producing award-winning hay.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
The Ozark Empire Fair Hay Show. He's done very well all the way through that. And here are our Century Farm families that we recognized September 9th at the Greene County Farm Bureau annual dinner. One of those, the top family is actually a working dairy operation, believe it or not. Another one. The young lady right in the middle is 92 years old. She's the matriarch of that family. And I think about 10 times she told me that night, she said, "Boy, don't you think I'm a blessed woman?" And I said, "Absolutely you are." And then the McCroskey brothers were the other family was there, and they're basically a beef and hay operation. But we really appreciate the opportunity to recognize those Century Farm families here in Greene County, and they're certainly proud of their farm and the tradition of their family on that farm, and they should be.
All right, and that was from last year's Century Farms. But grass schools and hay schools and tax preparation for farmers, an annual soils and crops event. Our specialists in agriculture still make farm visits when necessary to evaluate problems, whether it's with livestock or with the grass that's being grown, forage.
Yeah. We have a grazing school annually, and this is, if people are going to do cost share through the Soil Water District or an ARCS, this is a requirement because those are competitive grants or a federal grant called EQIP to put in grazing systems. And Greene County, one of the coolest, most efficient grazing systems I've ever seen in the state is in Greene County. And he's a retired Air Force pilot out by Crystal Cave that does hair sheep on 42 acres. And he runs like 105 ewes. And I mean, these sheep, they've got it down. They move it from one pasture to the other. It was one of the needs. They don't have a barn. They don't own a tractor. It's really cool. But we held that annually, a Missouri Grazing School.
Well, Kelly McGowan is our horticulture specialist in Greene County. She works far beyond Greene County, but she's finished up a big research project on lavender, um, which has national interest. And then she's also been very involved in elderberry production. You can see her with a bunch of elderberries there. You may have seen the article in the Springfield Daily Citizen about a producer in Lawrence County that's making a elderberry soda that's flying off the shelves, I guess, at Mama Jean's, from what I understand. And that article mentioned that Lawrence County, Missouri, produces 50% of all the elderberries in the United States. It's a hub, and people think, how did that happen? Well, the University of Missouri has a research farm there. We've been very involved in elderberry cultivars over the last decade. Kelly's been very involved in that, getting farmers to look at it as a cash crop, and that's kind of part of why that's the hub right there in Lawrence County. But it's a growing cash crop. Uh, she leads the Master Gardener program, 350 Master Gardeners that are trained. This is an aerial view of their demonstration garden at the park. She also leads the Master Naturalist, who work closely with the Conservation Department in volunteering their time after they've gone through the training. They have to volunteer 30 hours a year to remain in the program. So that's also Kelly's work. One of my focal areas in community development has been neighboring. Neighboring 101 has 700 plus people from all over the United States. And in that class, once a month on Zoom, 36 different states. We always have a special guest talking about neighboring and what that means, how that impacts your community. Neighborhood Leadership Academy results in things like the Sports Equipment Library in Republic. You may have seen media coverage on that. Hayden was in our Neighborhood Leadership Academy. Show Me Neighborhood Art Week. That's the bottom right-hand corner. Several initiatives that are leading people to be more engaged in their community, their neighborhood. And one of those is Missouri Good Neighbor Week, which is coming up September 28th to October 4th. And if you live in the city of Springfield, you may have seen PSAs on KY3. The mayor has issued a challenge to Springfield to host 100 block parties or driveway parties during that week of Missouri Good Neighbor Week.
Might add, very good marketing ploy with the storm shorts.
Yes, you've seen the PSA. Yes, with Ron Hurst in his storm shorts. The Small Business Development Center, which is actually located at Missouri State in the Jordan Valley Innovation Center, is funded through MU Extension through a grant. They're part of our network as well, helping people create businesses.
I might add to that, MU Extension, within the last year, has what we call a MAFIC. It's a added value innovation center where they provide business counseling, free business counseling, similar to SBDC, with agriculture producers that some of our SBDC clients may not understand. So that's been a very impactful program so far.
Yeah, helping Greene County residents produce more or start a new crop.
Yes.
To be successful. We love to keep that money local because it turns over 7 times when it's done locally and important impact. I didn't have pictures on Amy and Amber, at least current activities. Anything you well, anything you want to throw in on their activities?
Well, Amy is she is a labor workforce development queen. That's just all there is to it. She does a lot in that work. She recently just got back from a huge nationwide youth leadership thing. I would describe Amy as a person that has many talents, and she's super passionate about working with employers and potential employees in terms of workforce development. She's also involved with a program conducted really statewide, but more in the southern part, Heroes to Hives, where they work with veterans, teaching them how to do beekeeping and all the things with that. She's passionate about that as well.
Amber Allen is passionate about families and children.
Yes.
And she does evaluations, reviews of local child care centers. That's part of something they're required to go through and a service that we're able to provide. But she also does training. Child care providers have to have a certain number of CEUs each year, and they can get those through Extension and through Amber.
One of her big programs that's becoming more and more popular is mental health first aid. It's focused. There's a mental health first aid youth, and there's a mental health first aid adult. And she She's actually been doing professional development in some schools with teachers that are dealing with these youth
Yes.
on a daily basis in school. So that's one of her very cool programs.
Yes.
I think she does.
And she also provides the Focus on Kids programming, which Greene County judges will require a divorcing couple that has children to go through that program, Focus on Kids, how to co-parent, and that's her program as well. Uh, we also have a nutrition program in Greene County. It's funded by federal dollars, and they work in schools and adult nutrition centers like WIC clinics, food pantries, but they also do nutrition education in Title I schools. And I think that about wraps that up because I wanted to be sure we had enough time for some questions.
We have 3 nutrition program associates in Greene County.
Look at that. That gives 5 minutes for questions, and I know you've got them.
David, what don't you do? I think that's going to be a shorter list. It's really amazing when you put them all back to back to back to back of the broad range of things that services that you provide our community. It's really amazing.
Well, thank you. I think we're pretty blessed in Greene County in a lot of ways. We have a great facility office location and things which the university requires us to have, before they locate someone in a county. And so that's a draw to people. I think we tend to get specialists that come here and stay here. Longevity counts for a lot, consistency in terms of adding programs. I think we try to be careful and say yes to the right things, not to everything. Just there are some limitations in your time, but the county commission of recent years has been very supportive of extension and the program we try to do, not just the commissioner's ag tour, but supporting the efforts across the county.
Yeah, I serve 6 counties in this position: Webster, Greene, Christiansville, Berry, and Technique. And I would tell you if it was different, but I'm telling you, the Greene County faculty and staff are second to none. They're hardworking, their work is impactful, and they use their time in a focused manner. It's easy sometimes to get caught up in the process and not get much accomplished, and these people are good at accomplishing things. And honestly, the support from the county commission and the county is refreshing for some of the other counties that I have to work in. So.
Well, David, can I take your quote? Say yes to the right things.
Yes.
That's really key. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. And remind me of that from time to time too, because I have to provide. And during COVID, I read this book by Dr. Cloud, right? Necessary Endings, and about you. You may have some things, and COVID was a perfect time for that. Maybe some things we'd done over several years that were feeling kind of burdensome or old, needing a refreshment, or just needing to be dropped. Necessary endings, so that it opened up time to do other things, better things. And that's sometimes hard to do when you have something going on, to say, okay, we're going to stop that. But when it opens an avenue for bigger and better things, that's time to do it.
What was that author again?
I believe it's Cloud. The book is Necessary Endings. He's also the one that wrote the book Boundaries,
Thank you.
which I've had to read more than once.